Looks like we made it. La 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 la. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? I've just had the most just wonderful day today. Yeah, some days, I wrote the good evening TikTok. Uh, um, I wrote maybe it was today. I wrote one day this week where every day, maybe it was yesterday, seems to you wake up and every day is like life. It just takes on a whole life of its own. Some days one phone call can shift everything. One machine. It's coming up a storm here in East Point, y'all. Thank y'all. Come on in over on TikTok. Come on in. Stop a spell. Say hello for a minute. Ava and I went by Kroger earlier and got a rotisserie chicken and put on a little rice and had some chicken and rice for dinner. We just had such a good day today. We got our walk in early this morning. Good evening, TikTok. Good evening, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Got our walk in early this morning. And then from about, 9 until 12, I got out and dug in the yard and planted some stuff and hung out in the garden. And now, supposedly, there's hail and wind and storms coming through Atlanta this evening. But anyhow, good evening, everybody. I can see the wind starting to kick up a little bit. What do we want to talk about this evening? I've seen on Facebook my daughter Heather's down at that highfalutin riverfront hotel Marriott, the JW Marriott down in Savannah on the river. They're down there, her and Aunt and Eliana. I like that Marriott, that JW. It's nice. Hey, Miss Rhonda, good evening to you over on Facebook. I ain't really got nothing on my spirit tonight to really hee and haw about and talk about that much. I was reading an article yesterday. I enjoyed the White Lotus series, and I know this was the third one. I think the last one was good. I thought this one was good too. It was a little controversial because they had some weird stuff, between two brothers on there. And but I was reading there's an article online where that Walter Goggins, who plays baby brother Billy on the Righteous Gemstones, where that he'd went. I was reading an article about it was all surreal to him, and because I think he said maybe 20 years ago that his wife committed suicide. I don't know if that's the proper way to say that. His wife committed suicide. But anyhow, his wife at that time took her life. She was an actress also. And he said it threw his life into a total darkness and chaos. And when that happened, he said that he went to Thailand and to Bangkok, and that it was just a really, really hard time in his life. He said he was just trying to find himself, find out what's going on, what's life. And, I imagine some of you people out there that might run across this that's had a family member that took their life. That's probably really hard, especially your person you share your bed with, your lover, but anyhow, I was reading an article about him, and he said, this go round, there's weird, I think sometimes we kind of view life that the synchronicity of everything, how everything kind of falls into place, and how just how everything kind of works out, how everything just kind of falls in place. Thank y'all over there on TikTok for sharing the live. We're just talking this evening. Synchronicity. How about that for a subject? And coincidences. Um, how things always seem to kind of find their proper place and work out. Um, I got me a little slippery MT right here. It's hot. I was waiting for it to cool off. Thank y'all for the hearts and all over on TikTok and the taps and all that kind of good stuff. The camera angle might be a little weird because on TikTok, I'm looking down at my phone to go live on TikTok, and over on my laptop, I'm looking at Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I think that's what it is. But anyhow, reading the article about Walter Goggins, I love the actor. And I've only seen the first 2 episodes of The Righteous Gemstones, which is a corny goofball movie. But for people that was any of us that's ever part of Pentecostal charismatic faith ministry churches, like a lot of us have been at some point, that the absurdity of it strikes home with us at the reality of we all knew a preacher somewhere that was like a baby brother Billy, and we also knew a preacher like the Dan Goodman that plays the dad that was a pastor. But anyhow, he was saying that it was just so weird that 20 years later, he's back at the same hotel doing the White Lotus that he went to find himself at, and it's the same piers and boat docks. And he just said it was just so odd to retrace those steps. And he said that he would just give anything if he could go back to the young Walter 20 years ago, who was in a dark, dark place and didn't really had seriously thought about he didn't want to live no more. It said if he could just go back and just sit for a few minutes with him and tell him, like, dude, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. You know? And, you know, that, but maybe that's not the way life is for us. We have to go through those dark valleys and those dark highways, and we got to get bumped and slapped around a little bit for wherever we're heading to get to. You know, that's our journey. So it is kind of ironic, though, isn't it? Even I went by Kathy's yesterday evening because Chance and Savannah, I posted a little picture on Facebook of me and Caleb and Chance and Savannah walking up Rugby Avenue. They were walking in front of me. I took a picture of them, just the back of them. They were all talking and stuff. 3 of my flesh and bone and blood of my blood and bone of my bone, my kids and grandkids or whatever. And but anyhow, we were talking. I was talking to me and Kathy, and Jill was talking about back then. Life was 10 or 12 years ago when Kathy bought her house in College Park. I was helping her find a house. Heather had bought her house on Harris Street. I want y'all to listen how weird this is and what a coincidence it is. Heather had bought her house on Harris Street, historic College Park. Me and Kathy was hunting a house, and Jill. Well, we found a house on Ridgeway. Well, we knew nothing about College Park. We didn't know where Heather's house. We didn't know Heather's house was that right there. So we went and looked at Kathy's house. Hey, everybody on TikTok, Facebook, and the housing market was still kind of crashed. So we licked. This was, you know, back when everything was collapsing. So hello, Kiki. I guess that's how you say that. Thank y'all over there on TikTok. So anyhow, I went with Kathy and Jill, and we looked at Kathy's house on Ridgeway, and the realtor, Karen Corbin, a pretty well-known realtor here in the historic College Park area. We walked through, and, you know, I've always been weird about buying houses. You know, people like, I would need to get an inspection report. I need to do this, and then you negotiate the price, this and that and the other. Well, at the end of a crash market, that house listed for 110. And it was a really good house for 110. You know, of course, some houses over there now, there's houses $1 million around that house now. And but anyhow, I walked through the house with Kathy, and they loved it. Little Cape Cod, not little, a brick Cape Cod, nice big yard. Sits on a cul-de-sac, not a cul-de-sac, but a curve of a thing where it's, hey, Sherry, good evening to you. Sits on the cul-de-sac, curve of just beautiful historic homes. And so I told the realtor, I'm like, I said, Kathy, this is good. Kathy's like, yeah, we like this house. I said, listen, Eddie Sellers, Wheeler Diller, show you how I operate a little bit. They was asking 110 for it. I said, and it was hard for people to get mortgages then too, and hard for people to get loans. And, you know, it was about 2010, 12 in that area. It was coming back, but, you know, I bought my little house in Jefferson Park, Constance house. I bought my house during that time. And so I told the realtor, I said, listen, here's the deal. Get in touch with the client, because she said the couple was going through a divorce, only 110 for it. I said, get in touch with them. Tell them we'll give them $90,000 for it. We'll close within 7 days or whatever. No home inspection, no nothing, no negotiations. Let me know by 9 o'clock in the morning. If they don't let me know yes or no by 9 o'clock in the morning, the deal's off. Forget about it. And so she called me back the next morning. She said, they'll take it. So we got Kathy. Well, this is a long story to get to where I'm going to. We got Kathy's house. None of us knew that Heather's house that she just bought. And I don't think she'd moved in yet, but she had bought it. Maybe she had moved it. Maybe not. You know, we was all kind of weird with Heather then. Heather was in her crazy years. And, but anyhow, come to find out, Heather had bought her house right down the street, like 3 blocks. They walk back and forth to each other's house now. But her mama, Kathy and Heather, live really just like from my shop to Cabbagetown. That's how close they are. You walk down to Heather's house in 5 or 6 minutes. And we were talking last night about, we didn't know that those 2 houses were that close. But now that Kathy's getting older and Heather's in a really good place in life, I mean, the synchronicity of how that worked out, you know, for them to be so close to each other. So when I read that thing with Walter Goggins about finding himself and the synchronicity of being back in the White Lotus and in Thailand during this time. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all. It really just kind of, it's just odd, the coincidences that we have in life, isn't it? How things tend to work out, and things tend to kind of be okay. You know, we just kind of feel our way through it. And then yesterday evening, no, we're not doing that. That's my brother Richard calling. Lord, he's calling me now. He's wanting to do something. But anyhow, yesterday evening, I thought about it also, about synchronicity and different stuff or whatever. We went to Publix over here at Georgia State, over around Georgia State. They got a new, they got a Publix over there. It's not far from the house. We'll be over in like 10 minutes, and a lot closer than Glenwood. And so Ava and I get in my little red car, and I have a pair of jumper cables, but I typically keep them in my truck. And so I didn't know if I had jumper cables in or not. But anyhow, we're sitting in the car and we're getting ready to go. And there's an SUV parked next to me, and he hollers. I roll my window down. He says, "Sir, would you have jumper cables?" And the parking lot's packed. So I'm parked right beside him, in the lane right beside him. And I said, "I don't think I do, but I think I'll look." And I looked in little trunk of my little red car, and I had the jumper cables was in there. I'm like, yeah, I've got a pair of jumper cables. And he's like, if you'd give me a jump, man, it would just help to just do so much. I just my car won't start. I'm like, yeah, we give you a jump. And I could tell that West Houston is in the house. Patrick, hey, good evening to you, West Houston. I'm assuming that's Houston, Texas. I've been to Houston, and one time, I don't know where west or east or north or south of Houston is. Houston reminded me a little bit of Atlanta a little bit. Ava had a professor friend, and his wife. He was a professor at Rice University then. And so in Houston, while we was out there, we went and seen them, and he gave us a little tour around Rice University, which is a beautiful school out there. I think it's kind of somewhat a prestigious school there in Houston. Come back and visit us. Yeah. But anyhow, I'm sitting there, and the guy, I could tell, I don't know how I could tell this. I could tell the guy was Middle Eastern. I could just tell by his language or how he was phrasing things that he was Muslim. Beautiful man, maybe 30. And he kept saying, oh, praise be to God. And thank you so much. Praise be to God. But I can't really do it like him, but I could tell it was a Muslim thing. Hey, Miss Diane. Miss Diane says she's been busy lately, so I've missed a lot of your lives. I actually haven't done that many lives. Actually, I've done maybe a couple over the week or two. You have to. I need to do lives on TikTok to kind of keep the algorithms from thing. But anyhow, a couple of things. We jumped him off, and just the synchronicity, though, that I happen to have my jumper cables in my red car, which they're always in the truck. I should have one for both, but hello, Dana. Good evening to you. All is well. I've had such a good day today. Just such a good day today. So anyhow, we jumped him off, and then I got to thinking about when I was driving back home. I got to thinking about, do y'all reckon it's logical and possible that we have a storehouse that we accumulate blessings in? You know, I never have had the whole concept of, oh, I'll give money for this, but I know God will bless me, quote unquote, or I'll pay somebody's rent and God will bless me. I just never have bought into that kind of blessing. But I do believe blessings can be your karma, and curses can be your karma. Good can be your karma. Bad can be your karma. And I believe, like, when we take the time to jump somebody off or to help somebody when they ask you for help, that maybe there's a little blessing storehouse. You don't need a blessing today. You don't need a blessing tonight. But when the time comes where you need somebody to kind of be there for you, that things that you've done that accumulate the little blessings in your blessing bag, that you store them up, and they do seek you and find you. So yeah, so you know, there's just I've just had a lot of things today about how everything seems to work out. Everything seems to always kind of be, you know, it just kind of, you know, I don't. Some of you people, I watched a movie several years ago. There was a movie called the Marvelous Marigold Hotel or something like that. It was the little Indian guy that played in it from London, and Maggie Smith, and all these people went to, I think, the Marigold Hotel. Well, the guy that was the main star of it that run the hotel, he had the saying, he said, he would tell everybody, no matter what they were complaining about, he said, everything's going to be all right. And if it's not all right, it's not the end yet, you know. And he just kept saying that over and over. In the end, everything will be all right. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. And there's just some kind of truth in that too, that everything eventually kind of works itself out. It's okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Look at Miss Ava. Miss Ava's been busy. I've felt a little abandoned lately, y'all. Ava just keeps her days so filled, but she doesn't have anything to do tomorrow.
Nothing.
Except get our walk-in in the morning.
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, I was just telling them about the Middle Eastern guy we jumped off at Publix yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Evening. Yeah.
That was just yesterday.
And then just the about the Walter Goggins and the 20-year gap of him going back to White Lotus. So, but anyhow, y'all, good evening. Storms are heading into Atlanta.
They never last, do they?
No, storms never last, do they, baby? Blue skies all fade in the wind. Your hand in mine stills the thunder. You make the sun want to shine. An old Waylon Jennings, Jesse Coulter song. And even the great poet, Dr. Maya Angelou, said that all storms run out of rain at some point, you know. So, yeah, good evening, everybody. Yeah, just sitting in my little house here in East Point. I've got a big window I'm looking out, like this huge window right here that looks out, that I sit and do my morning posts under. Yeah, I was going to, yeah, you know what, Betty said, Boom Boom, over on Facebook, says, Boom Boom will need some comforting tonight with the storms blowing in. The thing I love about Boom Boom, I could go sit out on my little patio that's covered on the back. And I mean, lightning can be cracking, thunder, trees can be twisting. And Boom Boom just sat there like stoic, just like he's in a Baptist church service, just dead as a doornail, like he don't care nothing about any of it. And I have had dogs before that were just terrified of storms. Boom Boom and Gracie, fireworks, New Year's Eve, 4th of July, whatever. There, no loud sounds bother them. I think it's because Boom Boom thinks he's got the Holy Ghost. So, but yeah, just such a good day today. And I think also the other thing too about doing lives and algorithms and I've thought about this today. Vicky wants to know what did Richard want. I don't know. I'll call him back. He left me a message saying he's coming up tomorrow. He's fine. He's up and he's wanting to get up and get out of the house. I think he's coming up tomorrow. He's got speaking to Vicky over here, my sister on Facebook. He's got a doctor's appointment tomorrow at Mercy Care. So he was just telling me he's going to be up this way. So I'll call him back some point, whatever. But yeah, I do like stormy weather though. It's so much going on, I get distracted. So what else was I thinking about today? Oh, the algorithms. There's a big thing about people that's yeah, I see that, Vicky. There's a big there's a lot of our voices on social media. And so it's kind of odd because like just today I posted a couple of things on TikTok and then people that's like, Andy, where have you been? Where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. And I'm talking about these people are on my following list or whatever, you know, and but whatever content is that they're not seeing it, and it's just kind of weird in some of the algorithms. It's different on Facebook. And then I see these people online who's blaming algorithms for the reason they're not getting more likes or more followers or more money or whatever. Like this TikTok. Well, it kind of reminds me of a preacher of a church, and a lot of people keep leaving. And I know because I've been there, and a lot of people keep leaving the church, and the preacher's like, yes, great falling away time. People just don't want to serve the Lord no more. No, people don't like you. People don't like you as the pastor. That's why they're leaving. If it was a good, great pastor, they felt like was speaking to what their needs were, they wouldn't be leaving. So it's easy. So I thought about that in a funny way with TikTok. When people's on there and you run across them, and at one time, they'd post something and 1 million people would view it, and they was this, but content's continually changing, and so now they're posting stuff and 200 people's like clicking on it, or there's just they're waned away, and they're like, it's a TikTok. It's TikTok's messing with my followers. TikTok's messing with my money. They're messing with my algorithms. No, not really. It's just if you got something to say that's worthwhile and people connect to, it'll find its path out there for people to follow and see. But it is a strange beast, this social media. Are there too many voices out there now in the world? Is everybody's voice being heard? Is it good or is it bad? I think it's all those things. It's horrible. It's wonderful. It's good. It's bad, and I know that with my thing with social media, and I'd rather watch little reels on Facebook or TikTok, little reels, than sit there and watch ABC or CBS television shows. I'd rather see real life people, like a woman in Kentucky that's cooking cornbread. It can be interesting to just watch that sometimes. I'm still somewhat political. I get my biggest following, and my biggest following is when I get seriously political. Not so much, and you come on here and you're like, Trump sucks and Trump's rotten and people that follow Trump's a bunch of devils. You don't get much following that. You get some. But when the time comes where I really get involved in the campaigns as they go forward a year from now, and find my place within trying to motivate people and encourage people to keep your head up. Hey, Benita over on TikTok. There's a certain rhythm to that and a flow to that gets people connected to you in a way that's not like the goofy stuff, and but anyhow, good evening, TikTok, Facebook. Even like social media for you people that surround Atlanta, and for you people that surround Atlanta or the Atlanta areas out to come in, Alpharetta and places like that. I would have never, I've always watched, if I do watch local news, I always watch Channel 2, WSB. Monica Lewinsky, Lord have mercy. Monica Kaufman's going to kill me for referring to her as Monica Lewinsky. But Monica Kaufman was on it for 35 years. And John Pruitt's still alive. Monica is too. John Pruitt followed me around for a couple of days one time, 25 years ago. And I was involved in a program with prisons, helping get prisoners back out of prison into getting companies to hire them. And Georgia then had a program where that they would pay their salary for them. And we took in a couple at Georgia Blueprint, which I was the manager of them. So anyhow, the program was being pushed, and so John Pruitt came to do a story on me from WSB TV, and it was so funny. And it was good, and he went into the prisons, talked to a businessman as myself who was giving them the job and was involved in that. And so anyhow, it ran a series from Monday through Friday. And so they were showing me like back then they did a weekly series. Good Lord, the wind's whipping out here. And so, y'all, this is so funny. So it ran for 2 or 3 nights, and then it was a Wednesday night or a Thursday night. There's a gay bar here over in Midtown that was called Burkhart's. And so I got all showered, and it was about 8 o'clock when I lived by myself then. I said, I'm going to go over here to Burkhart's and just, you could also get bar food there too, and just kind of have me a beer, burger, or something. So I walk in, I'm feeling all good. There was this cute guy. He was looking at me, and I was kind of looking at him. He walked up to me and he said, I know you. I'm like, really? He said, you just got out of prison, didn't you? I'm like, no, you got that wrong. No. He said, yeah, I saw you on TV. You just got released from prison. I'm like, no, I'm the guy that's hiring the prisoners. I'm not the guy getting out of prison. But it just shows you the power of that. But anyhow, I've always watched Channel 2 news because just, I don't know, that's just like I always watch CNN. But the power of social media. Well, I've run across this young African-American meteorologist on Fox 5 News here in Atlanta. And I mean, I assume he's family, but one never knows. And, but I follow him on his Facebook page, and I've run across him on TikTok or whatever. And I've just really enjoyed his social media platform, which in turn got me to look at him over on Fox 5 News. And now when I watch Fox 5 News, when I watch local news, the local weather like he's on right now, I turn over to Fox 5 because of Jonathan Stacy. That's his name. That's my brother Richard Collin. Jonathan Stacy, meteorologist on Fox 5 News. But what connected me to get me to start watching him was social media. Facebook, TikTok. So I'm telling y'all, if you have something that you need to get off the ground, if you're a designer, an artist, have a donut shop, and the power of social media. There's another young African American baker that's over here in West End that's on TikTok. He's making banana pudding, pound cake. Yeah, probably. Yeah, he probably is, Betty. And I've seen his TikToks, and he just, I assume he's family, but such a sweet guy. And he's went out on a limb, renting him a little space over here in West End. He's baking cakes, baking cupcakes. I want to ride over there one afternoon, just walk in and say, I saw you on TikTok. Give me 6 of them cupcakes there or something. Just, I love promoting stuff. And so I think as a businessman, realizing that how hard it is that we've been in business now for 27 years, and what that takes, that for other people out there that's in business or selling T-shirts out of their garage or however they're trying to, I just really have a lot of admiration for them and respect for them. So anyhow, y'all, I'm losing my light. Y'all see it's getting dark here in Atlanta. My face is all red over here on TikTok. I'm losing my light. Ava's in there in the bed. We're watching 2 series right now. Nathan Lane's series, Mid-Century Modern. And I really enjoyed Nathan Lane. I've seen him on Broadway in New York. And I just love him. And the series is so good. Look, you can see the outside lights coming on. How can I do right there? Come on in the back over on the patio side. It's getting dark, y'all. I could turn a light on. And then we're watching this series also on Hulu called Dissecting Sex. And Michelle Williams, which was in Brokeback Mountain. I love Michelle Williams. She's so good in everything that she's in. In the series, it just starts right off the bat. She's been diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and it has metastasized in her. And the series, it might seem weird, but it's such a good series. And she's married to this man that just whines and complains all the time. And So in the process of her knowing she's dying, she's going to die, and her body is really giving out on her. Well, she's decided she's been married to him for 10 years or however long, has never had an orgasm. And she's never in her life ever had an orgasm with a person. She's had orgasms, but masturbation or whatever. And so before she dies, the series is she wants to have sex with someone that can give her an orgasm. But that's kind of a backdrop of it thing. It's all the human stuff that humans deal with and putting their lives back together. But how could it not be with Michelle Williams? I think that's her name. She's so good in everything she's in, but it's really a good series. So anyway, y'all, it's getting dark here in Atlanta and the storms are coming, and I'm losing my light, and I've just had such a good day today. Just had such a good day. And they said this is going to be one wave of storms coming through. So it might be hail, might be winds blowing. And then about 12 o'clock tonight, some storms may be coming through, according to Jonathan Stacy over on Fox 5 Atlanta, my new meteorologist that I get all my weather stuff from. So, but anyhow, let me get out of here, go finish my tea. Love y'all, sweet people. Let me end this.